our Amazon bags. You'll grab a bag, middle school needs 2, and then the blue table signs are for middle school, the yellow table signs are for elementary. Our preliminary data is showing really great results, and the best part is teachers believe.
In 2021, 30% of our kindergartners were on track or proficient in reading at the end of the school year. After having access to WIN support for 3 years, this same class of students increased their reading proficiency to 40% by spring of 2023.
Over 3,100 SPPS students received WIN support during the 23-24 school year. Based on screening assessments from fall of 2023 to spring of 2024, 90% of these students showed typical or aggressive growth. Our middle school students are passing the MCAs for the first time ever. So kids who are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade who would have been taking the MCA scores are now passing the MCAs by the time they get to 8th grade. I've gotten more emails from families who are like, I see evidence that you're teaching my child how to read.
Obviously, we can look at our data, right? Our screening assessments, things like that. But it's those more anecdotal type of conversations that are happening, when people tell us they've never had their kindergartners reading and writing like they are at this point of the school year. And so I think when their colleagues hear that and they see evidence of that, that just gives everyone more motivation to be all right, I want that for my students too.
I think what she does is amazing. She makes a huge impact, and I know that because I see it through my kids.
What I like about her most is that whenever I was having a bad day, she would always be like, hey, what's wrong? Do you need to talk or anything? She'd be very caring. She would always try to help me with my problems. She's just very sweet.
We all started out in a spot of not knowing where we would go as teachers and as students entering this program. And I think what really has stood out is that no matter where they're starting from, I know the ladder steps, and it's built so that kids can feel that ascension, that, oh wow, at the start of the year, this was something that made my brain hurt. And now by December, oh, I've got this, and look at all these new books I can read and all of these new skills that I can show off. Every little step not only builds their skills, but builds their belief and builds their comfort taking on challenges.
How would you describe this person?
She's really, really nice.
She hugs us and says that you're gonna do a good job, but all you gotta do is focus and practice a lot, that you can do it.
I am proud of all of my students. I am optimistic and I'm excited for what the future has to hold, partly because the READ Act is going to be training all teachers in the science of reading. And as more teachers know how to teach reading, I think that's going to change the outcome of how many students are reading.
We have over 1,200 educators participating in training this 24-25 school year, and there will be another wave of training in 2025-26. We are very optimistic about what the future holds for SPPS as we continue to work toward increasing reading proficiency for all students.
I have to say that I hope they keep focusing for other kids' sake, because it's definitely made a difference in my daughter's life. So I think that they're on the right track as long as they continue.
In St. Paul Public Schools, we forged a path. And I think that path, even in year 4 now of doing this work, we're talking about how do we anticipate where the work goes. Our theme this year is to be curious. And this theme really caught not just me, but other people, because students start their careers very curious and very excited about learning, and just the wonder of learning to read especially is like magic. And when you get to middle school, there's all kinds of other challenges in your body, and it can start to feel risky to be curious. So my hope for this year is to reignite that curiosity.
I believe that learning is a collective. process. Our students need to know that people are invested in their futures, but I think young people also need to know that you play the greatest role in your educational experience. What's most important is be aware of what you're not aware of and start to question, what are you called to do? What is your call to action? What is your moral imperative? What are you seeing? What are you not seeing? And what do you need to go figure out, or where do you need to go ask some more questions so that you can see something that you haven't seen or maybe even heard before in your life?
Grandma reminded her often that being named justice came with great responsibility. That's a big word. What does responsibility mean? Can someone help me? Or you're like, no, take it on. I might take that dress. That's beautiful. What is responsibility?
It's for when you take stuff in your hands.
Oh, there you go. Let's give her a round of applause. When you take stuff in your hands, I want people to come together. There's no issue too big to solve. That we come together, and if we're talking about the reading crisis, we identify the causes. We can talk about it and everyone will have an opinion. But instead, that we focus our time on what outcome do we want. If we want 100% reading proficiency, growing justice is asking them the strategies, once we have that shared vision, the strategies on how we do that. So if I think about the call to action, I think about in that notion that Miss Mary Kay Boyd, our fellow Rondo native, talks about all the time, everybody in, that everybody has a responsibility to, when we see a problem, we create a solution. And that is about right now, and it's about a pertinent issue that impacts us all.
It's going to take leaders to step up and really recognize what the problem is so we can fix it. It's not just going to go away in a year. It's going to take time. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take commitment. When teachers are willing to collaborate and work together for the good of a student, anything is possible.